Hello and welcome to SHRP Talk, the show by washed-up athletes for washed-up athletes looking to be their best self. On today's show, the brothers and I were joined by our cousin, Riley Hoogeveen. Riley is the man behind the scenes at Iowa State, making their fields look so pristine, and some are even saying he's the reason their football team is so dang good this year. We dive a little bit into his journey growing up, his athletic background, how he got into the field of turf management, and how it's led him to his current role at Iowa State. We share some great stories, and he gives some insight into how he got to where he is today, his mindset, and just a great takeaway into leaning into your passion, what you're skilled at, and just pursuing that with everything you have and going where you're called. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you enjoy. Before we get rolling with today's episode, I want to take a second to tell you about SHRP Training. Snyder Health Recovery and Performance Training is an online training platform to help washed-up athletes look, feel, and move better. We offer several different group options catered to your needs, interests, and goals, with new programs delivered each month through the TeamBuilder app. Features include video demonstrations, 24/7 messaging and feedback, and access to the Sharp Edge, a comprehensive guide to upgrade your diet, sleep, and life. Use the code PODCAST in all caps to get 50% off your first month when checking out a program. Iron sharpens iron, so let us help you become your sharpest self. Now let's go. And we're back with another edition of SHRP Talk. This evening we have the pleasure of being joined by yet another family member. Sources are telling me this is the man behind the success of the Iowa State football team. The guy making their field look so good.
There's no way that's a coincidence.
What
There's no
do you have
way.
to say to that? What do you have to say to these allegations?
I don't. There's no truth behind those. Those are purely allegations. So, no more further questions on that.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. Well,
What does McAfee always do? Source says. You guys watch that?
Yeah.
Dude,
No.
he's
It's on our
awesome.
I need
TV
to
They're
more.
every
so
lunchtime.
funny.
That's all we're watching.
Source says. I don't know where that started, but it's so funny when he does that. Source says, tell me Riley's the reason when they're 7-0.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
wish.
It's the only reason. Well, Riley, thanks for joining us this evening, and hopefully give us a little insight into your background and kind of what you're doing now. Looking forward to learn some stuff, but you want to just kick it off by telling everyone who the heck you are?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on here. But yeah, Riley Hoogeveen, like they said, cousin of these three guys right here. I'm from Western Iowa, small town, same school, West Line, kind of 4-sport athlete in high school. Well, sorry, four through 2 years of high school, then quit football. And then when I was in high school, worked in the golf course industry. I loved to golf, but kind of ruined golfing for you kind of when you work in the industry. So that's how when I started to know that I want to do something with the kind of sports athletics, or at least something with maintenance of that. And then went to college and got 2 years in that, and then kind of started internship, and now I'm the assistant at Iowa State. So
Dude,
Climb the ladder real quick.
I can speak directly to that. Going back, like, dude, when I worked at Meadow Acres for a summer, I never really got on a mower, but I was pretty much just the weedy guy. So I would just go around the entire course and they're on the outside and then all the trees. It's not like the most tree populated course in the world, but there's a lot more than you think when you start weed eating them. And yes, I had no desire to golf, so that was a very short stint as a worker, as an employee at Meadow Acres. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go coach some baseball for a couple hours, and so I can actually golf because this is ruining all the fun.
yeah, 100% with you. That it's just terrible. I never even thought about it. And then like I was just like, yeah, it's game over right now. So never doing that again. But grateful for it for sure.
Is Daryl still working out there? Is he still cutting some grass?
I don't know. With him moving back to Larchwood area, I don't know if he's back on there or not. I don't know.
He was keeping those fairways tight for a while.
He had it dialed in.
Yeah.
But
well, Riley, you hit on the athletic background a little bit. You want to talk about maybe growing up, what some of your favorite sports were, or what kind of your athletic experience was growing up?
Yeah, so obviously when you're a little kid, Little League, well, I shouldn't even say that. I played second and third grade Larchwood baseball, and then I was so over it. I hated it. I did not want my summers to go like that. So 4th through 6th grade, I didn't even touch a baseball. Didn't do anything. And 7th grade, my dad pretty much forced me to. I think I was crying out the door the first week of practice. I don't want to go. I don't want to do this, and ended up absolutely loving it. So I'm glad dad pushed me along there, especially like younger, dumber kids. So that's how baseball, obviously, like football. You got soccer when you're little, you kind of just did everything around there. But like I said, football kind of junior years through, or junior high through sophomore year. Basketball, love basketball, golf, and baseball. Basketball was definitely my favorite throughout high school. Just kind of felt like with that one, with every sport though, like I probably didn't have the greatest of skills, but I just felt like I had the IQ, kind of the floor general, kind of being able to kind of put people where they needed. I was all of 5 foot, 5'10", 5 foot whatever in high school, and I was guarding a big guy, or I was playing the 4 or 5 if a big guy was down or in foul trouble. So I was playing every position, and just kind of with that, I was pretty much, some people would call me coach as a nickname or whatever it was. So, and that was the same with every sport. Football, I felt like I had a really high IQ, knew everything about it, but obviously, like I was small and I had the IQ of it, but it didn't translate too well with my size. But that's oh well. That wasn't the main reason I quit, but that is just with every sport. I had the smarts of it, but kind of lacked the skill a little bit. But
Were you kind of a late bloomer, like growth spurt and
yeah, I
development
was
wise?
when I got my license when I was 18. I got my license. I was 5'5" on it.
When
So
you were 18 or
yeah,
16?
when I was 18, my license said
Wow.
5'5". So about July-ish of going into my senior year, I hit a growth spurt, and then I shot
Wow.
it to, I'm about 6 foot now, right on it. So yeah, I
Crazy.
was a super late bloomer. So that did not help whatsoever. But it also doesn't help whatsoever with the joints and all that too. That kind of knees kind of hurt after that. But
Yeah, that's a lot of inches in a short amount of time.
yeah,
Late in the athletic career. So
that was
amidst the hardwood, that's tough. That's crazy. That's
yeah.
so interesting how people shoot up late, and some people.
I think Ryan did that too, didn't he? In college, didn't he have a really late
Yeah,
growth spurt?
Coach DeYoung, our basketball coach, every time for summer basketball, freshman on through whatever, he's like, "You look just like Ryan. One of these days, you're going to come in here, shoot up 8 inches. You're gonna be 6'4", just like Ryan." I'm like, if I go up a foot taller, there's no way I'm gonna be able to walk into practice. But I grew 5 inches or 6 inches or whatever it was. But so he was sort of right, but thankfully, I never got that foot taller in that short amount of time. There's no way I would have been able to. I would have had a lot of injuries, that's for sure.
Mm. Kind of I don't know if sneaky is the word, but I mean, me and my brothers have talked about this before. You were good on the basketball floor, my brother.
Like really
You had
good.
quite the career.
Senior year was insane. It was like a whole new person, dude.
Yeah, I kind of get that a little bit of confidence, or that late in the junior year. Like you can look at the stats. Sophomore year, whenever I played varsity games, it was like 7% 3-point percentage. Junior year was maybe 13% 3-point percentage, but late in the season, whether it was that playoff run or whatever it was, but I got used a lot more and kind of hit my stride late in the junior season. That gave me all the confidence in the world that I needed to go into my senior year, and kind of, I already had the leadership, but I just needed the confidence with my skills behind it. But then that helped me to kind of help with the team, and yeah, felt like a whole different person, especially on the court, and that 6 inches might have helped too. Kind of being able to touch the rim instead of hoping to touch the net kind of put some confidence in you too. So
Does
Yeah.
help. Does
Yeah.
help a little bit.
I touched the net, Mom. I touched the net. That song went crazy.
What you hit on the football stuff a little bit. What kind of went into walking away from that? I know that's probably hard with dad as a football coach and being part of a football school. So kind of talk about what that was like.
yeah, that was definitely one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. Like I said, I love football, but just whatever it was in high school, I kind of just lost the lost the love to play it. And I don't know what it was with it. Definitely wasn't the coaches, because we had the greatest coaches in the world. Wasn't whatever it was, but I felt like I just had more desire to go the basketball route. And between basketball and work and all that, I just felt like that led me to not do it my junior season. And my dad, he tried to convince me, all the other coaches, like, hey, just come out, try it out. But just kind of between the height, the way kind of things worked out, and I was already going into my junior year. Brandon knows, I called him several times throughout my, junior year, crying. I was struggling with grades. I was just struggling with a lot of stuffs going through that. And so Brandon helped me get through that time a lot better too. But yeah, just kind of a whole bunch of different factors went into it and I think, was it my junior year, we kind of played up at the Pentagon, and that kind of helped me too, kind of get out of football. My dad was pretty much forcing me to, unless I got out of something, and doing that Pentagon League really helped too. So
What was kind of the biggest thing in that time period? Because I feel like there was like a pre-Riley to that time period and then a post-Riley, and I feel like you've kind of been in that ever since, just from like your focus level and how you've handled things and your interest level and different things, and you've kind of found your own niches. And basketball is obviously one, and the turf management another one. But I feel like even after that, like just the way you were in school, and then it was like just the way you communicated, it was like a whole different confidence about you. Like what in that time period do you feel like kind of switched? You know what I mean? Like, what was it? I don't know. Maybe it's not one thing, or maybe you don't have an answer. Maybe you do, but I don't know. Like, what kind of switched in that time? Because it was obviously late in your career. I remember you were talking about school struggling, and obviously you had the ability to do it, but it was just like whether it was a focus thing or I think it usually comes down to like a why thing or whatever decision you made. What I don't know. Maybe you have some insight into that. I'm just kind of curious.
yeah, for me, like, it was just, there was always just so much going on. Like, when you're a four-sport athlete, like, I was during football season when I was younger, I was doing basketball tryouts. And if I wasn't doing basketball tryouts, I was at golf. Then you're doing baseball early in the morning. You got lifting, you got all that. But I just felt like I was just a chicken with my head cut off, running everywhere. There wasn't actually any thought going to anything. I was going through the motions of maybe basketball practice. I was going through the motions of football, worrying about oh, I got to go to basketball by this time. So I'm not even thinking about practice right now. So I just felt like there was just so much going on, and just kind of putting the right people in my life, I guess, is what I would say. Like I said, I was called you kind of all the time, and then just kind of putting focus into everything. I was just kind of, like I said, I was just a chicken with my head cut off, and I kind of was worried about one thing, and I was just kind of not worried about anything, kind of nonchalant about a lot of stuff. Like, oh, life isn't going to hit me. Like, I had plenty of time to figure stuff out. And it kind of hit me that, like, oh, there's
Yeah.
a whole different life past sports. And yeah, just kind of actually being able to take a step back and kind of realizing, like, okay, maybe school does matter. Maybe I do actually have to try a little bit, because then I won't be able to do basketball, or won't be able to do another thing. And kind of just putting the right people in my life, and not really worrying about, like, what I have for maybe a different thing. Like, maybe I was worried about what people were thinking about me. Like,
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, like, why is he not going out for football, and like freaking out about just like kind of what I felt like a big thing for me was just stop worrying about what other people like are thinking about you, or worrying about what you're doing in life, and kind of just knowing that I kind of had the right people in my life, and knowing that I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and that kind of just really kind of put life into perspective.
Yeah.
Tigers
No, you're good.
under your button.
Yeah, it's kind of like addition by subtraction, like kind of getting rid of a few of the things that you didn't love or were taking up your time, and being okay with that. And I think it can be definitely, we have the conversation a lot about multi sports or single sport or whatever. And a lot of times we talk about it more from like a performance perspective of being able to produce at the level that, hey buddy, what's up? Yeah.
Just
I
need
was
some
wondering
love.
about him, but this is Theo.
Theo, what's up, buddy?
Theo just wants some love.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cute.
Oh,
He just needed a hug. That's a good boy.
you're okay.
That was awesome. Dog therapy.
Yeah.
Buds.
But we talk, like I said, we talk a lot about like from a purely performance perspective of like basketball specifically, if you want to reach the highest level of basketball or maximize your potential in basketball, and then these other sports can get in the way potentially or take energy away. And like we have a lot of kids that run cross country maybe to help with basketball, but at the same time, it's like, is that really actually helping you with basketball, or is it just taking your energy away? But that's like a performance perspective. This is more of like I feel like a mental perspective of like, I'm spending all this time in things that Riley, don't really love. I'm doing it for the people around me or for parents even, which isn't necessarily bad. Like you said, you got back into baseball because your dad said, but you're going to love it. You just need to get back into it and get past this bridge. Well, it's kind of the same thing with football. And then I think I applaud you for I think even just recognizing like whether or not something I said helped you or not, but I think just admitting that you wanted to be better, you know what I mean, in these different areas, that you wanted to be better in school, that you were struggling with maybe what other people thought about you, and narrowing your focus on whose opinions really matter. And at the end of the day, it's like making sure that you do what you want to do, because that's what you're going to do successful. And then people are going to see Riley. And then obviously like that turned into how you played your senior year in basketball. And it was so fun. It was like you were free. It's like you were free from all that. And I think that carried over into school and carried into, like you said, life beyond sports after that. And so I think you've pursued this niche of turf management or whatever, kind of, whether it was working at the golf course and then, like you said, traveling. And you were out of Iowa for a while doing this type of a thing, which you can talk about too. But like pre-conversation, Riley, that we had, I don't think would have taken on the task like that and run with that. But you knew what you wanted to do. You had a clear focus. You weren't wasting energy or time or focus on those other things. And you were able to really like find your purpose and live out your passions. And that was really cool to see.
I think even with the school thing too, like I think for me and my brothers, like school just kind of came naturally. Like our brains were kind of hardwired for that. And maybe that was the case for you, maybe it wasn't, but there's never any doubt to me that you were smart. But like if you don't care about it, or if you don't see the end goal of it, it's hard to really apply yourself and give your full effort. And then when you found your thing with the turf management and you can fully dive into that and find something that like you actually are passionate about learning about, like then it just becomes easier to learn and you can see that intelligence shine. So yeah, I think it's just finding that niche, finding what you were like created to do and what you're passionate about. And I'm happy you found that. You're killing it. We can get into the turf stuff, but just kind of to finish off with the high school thing, we've had a lot of like meatheads on the show, guys who like the weight room. So I'm just curious for you, like late bloomer, what was the weight room experience like for you? Did you ever have periods where you liked it, or was it always kind of intimidating, or what was your perspective of the weight room going throughout junior high and high school?
Yeah, no, for me, like right away, maybe eighth to ninth grade year, I was like, okay, this is waking up, kind of just nonchalant going into there. Kind of like, I was like, okay, this is stupid. Like, didn't really see too much progress, but also, as you guys know, like, was not the healthiest of eaters. That probably did not help whatsoever.
What? No.
Yeah. So makes a lot of people.
Jacked up on Mountain Dew is Riley.
Yeah.
Jacked up on Mountain Dew.
That probably didn't help. But then 10th grade year, I kind of really fell in love with it. Kind of realized like, okay, not everybody has to get absolutely shredded. Like I can do maybe like the ab workouts. I can work on pure speed training. I don't have to absolutely get absolute buffed. I can not kind of have that sneaky build is probably how I'd put it. Like I'm clearly not absolutely buff like you guys, but I just I have what I need and maybe wired. I don't know, like a pretzel, kind of that stuff is probably a lot of things people say, but so I'd kind of get like really love that. And then kind of like late sophomore year, like kind of going into late golf year and the junior year, I really had like whatever it was with the back was kind of made that tough. I know for golf, like I could barely swing a golf club without my back feeling like it was concrete. And then it kind of got tough. So it was kind of more like going in there, stretching, kind of doing whatever I could there. But then senior year, I honestly came and I went in there as kind of do pure abs or kind of keep the physique I have, but also it just felt like more kind of just stretching, keeping the body loose and making sure that for sports I was kind of the healthiest I could be without ruining kind of I don't know what my mind was thinking, but I feel like every day my dad was like, "Oh, go work out." And then I was kind of like, I shot felt comfortable going into basketball, whatever it was. I was like, I really don't want to mess that up with whatever it might be wrong move while doing a bench press or whatever it might be. So it's kind of just more making sure I was ready to go, kind of stretching wise instead of trying to get kind of that buff. But I would say I loved being in the weight room, but it was probably different than, like you said, a lot of 99% of the meatheads that kind of looking for the physique over kind of maybe just going in there and staying fit.
Yeah, and I mean, there's different ways to do it. Like if you want to find success on the basketball court, playing basketball is a pretty good way to do it. And there's always that. I kind of had this too, like the balance between keeping your shot and doing like upper body strength or hypertrophy, and just like fine tuning the balance between those two. I definitely can see where you're coming from. And yeah, I feel like in the basketball space, lifting is still important, obviously, but I don't think it's like as essential as a sport like football. So I think there's it just shows there's different ways to do it, and you obviously found one that worked for you. Your senior year, like we said, you balled out, and yeah, it was really cool to see.
Yeah, I definitely like my senior year. I shot it okay, but it took like 3 weeks off towards the state tournament or whatever, and was like by far the best I shot it, like the most consistent. But again, like I was kind of sacrificing a little bit, probably 5% shooting percentage for bigger, longer term goals. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I don't know, things to manage, especially when it comes to the shot and how hard it is to make shots consistently and all that type of a thing. So yeah, it's interesting. Every sport's different, and we just didn't really know at the time. So I was just,
Yeah.
never thought about it. And then Dad's like, "No, you're going to stay out of the weight room for 3 or 4 weeks here," and it helped. So
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of like for us, it's pure kind of football lifting is out how to put it. Like
yeah,
there wasn't really too much other than that, like for us. So all, we got that paper. He did those lifts, and I was just like, I don't see like my path. I don't know how these stuff are gonna help me out, or I just feel like these are gonna hurt me worse. But even baseball helped me too. I was probably throwing 55. I was probably throwing meatballs up till my senior year, and then all of a sudden I was throwing like 78, 79 on the mound, and then like that just hit a switch too. Whether that was the certain lifting that I was doing going into my senior year with more kind of the stretching, kind of working on everything, making sure I could get the most rotation out of possible, or if it was the height thing, growing 5 inches, but whatever it was, like either one. But that was just everything kind of with the style I was doing definitely was working good for the sports I was playing. So
I think you're kind of ahead of your time with that too, because like for me, my solution to struggling with sports would have been to go in the weight room and do more, but that doesn't really help you with your sport. Like football, maybe, but these other sports, probably not. So I think that's cool that I think that's unique from where we came from to have the mindset to like question a little bit and maybe just do more stuff to like specific to what your goals were, what made you feel good, and clearly it worked out for the sports you were playing.
Well, and that even goes back to like when you were doing like the whole Lincecum thing too, Colin. Like I know that's not like the same thing, but kind of is, right? Like you were focusing on trying to basically, because he wasn't a big guy, like maximize your pitching routine, your wind up or whatever to get the most out of your body. And then as time went on, that kind of changed. And I feel like that was, if you would have stayed on that, I know you had other things that you were working on, right? But if you would have like stayed with that trajectory of like, dude, you were popping, it was crazy to see, but you were spending time like mirroring after that. And it was, in my opinion, like pound for pound of whatever age you were or time, like that was the hardest you were throwing the ball. And that was sick, but that's kind of to your point, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. It's almost like a comfort thing too. Like, sure, there's like a right way to do stuff, but you almost just have to listen to your own body and intuition at times. Like, obviously, you need coaching at times with some things, but I think there's a lot to be said with whether it's baseball or golf swing, any sort of skill, like just being comfortable with doing it and having your own kind of flair to it. I think that
Well, even
that's something to be
Caitlin, like
said.
you can see her, like a lot of times she'll shoot, like her thumb will go. You know what I mean? It's like, well, everybody always says like your left hand stays straight and your right hand is your follow through or whatever. And like you watch her shoot and like her hands like almost going and her ball doesn't spin like perfect rotation. And like,
Curry's got the thumb.
yeah.
too.
And so it's like at the end of the day, they're always tough angles. They're just using a little bit extra power. They're not, but it's a rep thing, right? Those two are taking more reps than anybody else in the world. And that's why they're shooting it the way they do. And so, yeah, I mean, there certainly can be a right way or whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're maximizing your body or getting the rep count in, it's going to work.
Yeah. Well, that even applies to the weight room too, I think. Like there's guys who are naturally just twitchy or naturally good at their sport, and there's been people who have gotten into the weight room and it's made them worse. So,
Yeah.
and there's some who it propels them. So it's not a one size fits all with the weight room or performance. It's kind of just tailoring it to what you need and what makes you feel best. I think that goes a long way and doesn't get talked about enough. But enough with all the performance stuff. We could be here for hours talking about that. Turf, Riley, what got you into that first, and maybe just speak to what led you to decide to go that route for college and into that career.
Yeah, so like I said, I should say officially, first golf course was Green Falls. It was like brand spanking new. It might have been a year or two old, maybe 3 years old. And so it was, in my eyes, it was top of the art. Kind of, man, that'd be kind of be sweet. I more like went there thinking like, man, I get free golf if I work here. Might have used it maybe once or twice that summer, so really worth it. But I was like, man, that'd be awesome to kind of work there, and was helpful because he worked around the schedule of weight room, speed training, and baseball during the summer. So it was perfect there. But I was just so tired after that summer. As Brandon said, like you're weed eating, there's a lot of manual labor, especially as a sophomore in high school. They use you as a sophomore in high school. They got the stuff for you and all that. So I was like, I need to go. So then I went Meadow Acres with Sean Growald, and he kind of took the reins from there. Kind of actually got to hop on a mower. I got to actually do some stuff instead of raking up leaves all through the spring, which you got to clean those up. But raking leaves, raking sticks, weed eating, edging. He didn't have that summer help. Me and Jackson Kramer, us two were his first kind of two summer help in a long time, at least younger summer help. He had Daryl, he had the couple guys on the fairway and rough mower, but he didn't have the young help to kind of get all the stuff that, kind of the smaller details, but can really make a golf course look good. And so he surely put us to that, but also with that, he let us get on the mowers and all that. And once he got on that, once I got on that, I was like, yeah, this is sweet. Kind of chilling on the mowers, kind of getting all that. Then, like I said, I was like, man, I do not want to be out here any more than I have to. So then kind of ruined golf. I shouldn't say ruin it, but I was like, didn't want to spend all day out there hitting golf balls. And on looking career path, I obviously didn't want to go to a 4-year. So I was like, man, what is out there? And I saw sports turf management and thinking right away, like, oh yeah, maybe I could take over for Sean. He's kind of getting up there, kind of thinking small, like get my degree, kind of get it, and kind of went there kind of with the pure golf course kind of side of thinking, and went there and realized there's so much more you can do with that degree than just that, whether it's lawn care, get your 2-year and go to a 4-year or whatever it might be. But then I saw like athletic fields and I was like, man, that there's so many paths, like a first day, Corey Borg, like big one going into that time of my life. He was so big, like helping me out. Like he pretty much like curved that path for me. And I can't say enough great things about him, but he's just saying like, yeah, Ryan Woodley, the head guy for the Brewers, went here, and like that kind of struck my interest right away. I was like, wow, like the head guy for the Brewers, like, went here, like, that kind of just struck, like, what I want to do. Like, love athletics, going to Brandon's games or going to Colin and Jaden's football games at Northwestern. Just pure sports junkie. So I was like, man, if I could do my own part of being part of sports, that'd be so amazing. Like, the game of the game, kind of setting up and all that. And came to it that there's a whole bunch of internships opportunities. And right away, I was like I said, I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to go do Pebble Beach or go do TPC Sawgrass. But then Corey came up and like, hey, like the Brewers are looking. I know you want to do sports fields. And I was like, saw that. And I started going to internships with the Steelers, which if you want a funny story with the Steelers, that was brutal. Forgot that I didn't switch up my voicemail. They were my first one. Didn't switch up my voicemail from 6th grade. So it was 6th grade voice me, super high pitch. Hello, this is Riley Hoogeveen. Sorry to get your call. I'll call you back when I do the beep. So I go beep and then wait 2 seconds and I'm like, psych, I'm still here. So that was how my first internship call went. I missed the call because I was still in class. Oh, I was never so embarrassed in my life. Like, I tried calling him back, he didn't answer. Like the next day, and I was like, "What? Like, what'd I do? Like, why are they not like answering me?" And then I like kind of just hit. I was like, I'd probably look like a ghost. Like, I think my whole body just went like pure white. I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And I went and listened to it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm never getting a call back from them again." So
Nope.
immediately changed that to default, and I was like, "Yeah, that's brutal. That's a brutal start right there." So, but no, then kind of went more thinking small. Like I went a couple of AAA kind of applied to a couple of those, and I was actually kind of set up to go to the Tennessee Smokies. I was looking at apartments. I verbally accepted it, nothing like on paper or anything, and then applied to a couple of the MLBs like the Brewers and the Nationals and the Red Sox, and all kind of said like I was in the final stage of that one, and the Red Sox called the day of my Brewers internship, and I think the Nationals called the day after. But so I said I'd get back to them once the Brewers got to me because they were closer, and thankfully got that one and got to go out to the Brewers and work there for 4 months. And you purely think of sport. Like I thought I'm going to work baseball games, just kind of get that set up and you're done. Yeah, it's a whole different side once you kind of get out there. Concert, you
all of
got
it.
season ticket holder games, you got high school games. So much more than what I ever thought it could be. It just was endless. And you're like, baseball games are one thing. We had 2 shifts. You either work the morning to the game, so you're there from maybe 7:30 to maybe it's a 6 o'clock game, so you're there from 7:30 to 6 or whatever it might be for games. But you're like, man, that's a lot of hours. And then a concert week comes and you work a baseball game. So say you just worked 10:30 to till the end of the game, 12 a.m. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, flooring's here. So we're flooring right after. So then I'm there till 7 a.m. And then they're like, okay, go sleep. We need you back here at 1 p.m. Well, it's in the middle. I can't sleep if there's light out. So I was awake for maybe 48 straight hours there. Went back to 1 p.m. I was there till 1 a.m. that same day too. So it's just like, that kind of was really eye-opening. I was like, holy smokes, this is way more than what I thought. But like you guys said, like once you find something you love, like I wasn't like any day that I was, oh my gosh, I had to go do another 14-hour shift. Oh, I had to go do another 16-hour shift. It was like I was ready to go to sleep and woke up before my alarm clock every single day, ready to go. And so I cannot say enough great things about them too. Just kind of leading me to like, they taught me literally any and everything. And that was so big for me to kind of be able to go out there and just know how many different career paths there are. So
yeah, that's something I didn't realize either until I was working at the college level, like just how much, like you said, like concerts, like at Arkansas State, we had our basketball arena, and obviously schools need to bring in some money with how much money they're spending. So that thing was always being used. There was always people in there setting stuff up, breaking stuff down, graduation, concert, whatever it is. Like just developed an appreciation for the people behind the scenes who, for those game day experiences make it better for fans and players. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't see. But I mean, yeah, you've seen that firsthand. We just speak to your internship experiences. Like, I think me and you kind of had similar paths, both going to pursue jobs at college professional level. I had to do internships throughout the country. You as well. We almost crossed paths. I went down to Dallas, Fort Worth right as you were leaving TCU. Maybe just speak to those experiences, being away from home for the first time, and kind of like that's probably helped you climb the ladder as fast as you have. So maybe just speak to maybe how that happened and the connections you built during that time.
Yeah, like you guys said, like I never even imagined anything really outside of homebody. I never even really traveled places like Park City, Utah. That might have been the farthest I'd gone from home, and like our family never really traveled homebody. So like kind of the Milwaukee Brewers, I was freaking out. I never even really had to find my own apartment. Schooling, I kind of just was close enough that I could travel from home. So it's kind of like just pure all new stuff. So doing the apartment, luckily the other two interns were absolutely amazing, and they were one was 3 years older than I was, the other was 12 years older than I was. He was a military guy that kind of wanted to try out turf thing, so whatever. So they were super helpful there, being able to move out there. But that was super freaky. Kind of never really gone to a big city, never done that. So to live in a big city and have to drive on those roads, they the back street back roads of Iowa where there's
Ain't no
nobody
gravel
out.
out here, brother.
Yeah. So that was just super nerve wracking getting there, and I pull up. I've never been to a sports. I don't even think I went to a professional sporting event before that, other than Kenneth watching. It was collegiate, but pulling up to that, I was like, oh my goodness, I've never even been to a baseball game. I don't even know what the process is. So it's purely like everything's brand new. So I'm just like, oh goodness. But they were super welcoming the first day. They were showing me around. They picked me up right from the parking lot. So I want to get confused. And so that all went super smooth. And I think my first day was a game day. So it was kind of just straight into the fire, which I would have had it no other way. Like that kind of just took the nerves away right away. Kind of, I fit in so well with that crew, like so quick. They kind of just took me under their wing. And I think is honestly the first or second day. Like I said, I was like, I went up to our boss there and I was like, are you an e-girl or I-ladies kind of guy? And he's like, what? What's an I-lady? And I won't say the full joke, but I think he can I-lady himself. Hell, he first day. And so I kind of broke the ice right away, and that really helped. But just kind of, it was just kind of big there, kind of just welcomed me so fast there. And I think I went out there like 2 days before I started working, and I was just like sweating, just kind of pacing around the place. And I'm not, you know me, I'm not like go out kind of guy. So like if I wasn't working, I was just chilling, maybe playing Formula One up in my loft because I didn't have my own bedroom. It was just the loft up there. So maybe it was playing Formula One or Farming Simulator or whatever it was to waste time. But it was just so welcoming out there, and such an eye-opening, like I said, experience. Just kind of thrown into the fire and had no other way. And then I kind of realized, like, man, that's a lot of hours. I want time to whatever it is, have time with friends, or have time to actually be able to see family or start a family, whatever it is. So I kind of put those into my life, and I was like, yeah, professional, maybe MLB just isn't it for me. And then I was kind of like, man, like, do I go back to golf courses? And then saw that TCU had a job opening. I was like, that'd be so sweet. The Horned Frogs. I don't know if that might have been that was the summer right after they went to the national championship for football. And I was like, man, that'd be so sweet, but there's like no way. And luckily enough, got that internship, and that was even more freaky. Milwaukee's only a city of, which I shouldn't say only, but 1 million. And then you go down to Dallas Fort Worth area, which I don't even know what it is, 13 million. It's a lot of people. So going down there and looking at housing, I'm like, man, I'm gonna lose money here. And so luckily family down there took me in, and let me stay at their place for free. And that was just such a game changer too. And like, that's just another thing I learned through this process. There are just so many, you put something out there, there's just so many amazing people that will take you in or help you with whatever you need to. And that was just so big for me because I would have, college kid losing money, that would have been a lot harder. I was, while I was doing rent, I was like asking TCU, like, hey, how many hours am I working? Like, am I allowed overtime? If not, I was looking at second jobs already while I was down there with the rent. And luckily, like I said, got brought into that family. But TCU was absolutely amazing and kind of realizing like, yeah, there's some busy times, but you're still not, you know, working every day, every single day, literally not having a day off for 4 straight months. Certain summertime, it's pretty chill. There's no sports. So it's kind of all their relaxation time. I mean, they do have them, but they're lifting or speed. They're not really out there too much. So it kind of got to see what they do during the summer. And I learned so much from them, and they literally let me do everything. They trusted me on a sprayer, which I don't know why anybody would trust me on one of those things. That was quite nerve wracking. I was spreading fertilizer. I've never done anything like that in my life. So it was just 20, fresh 21-year-old me on one of those things. And I was just like, oh gosh, there's just so much pressure. And like for us, C3 grass, which I know I'm probably talking completely, but C3 is kind of cool season. So it kind of takes in the sun and all that differently up here. So it loves cooler temperatures a bit more, but that's C4 down there. So it's just a completely different animals. It's just crazy how different it can be for my side of the kind of sports surf. And so kind of being able to kind of see that side of what they do with that, and kind of took that into perspective. Like, wow, I didn't even know that was possible either, that there was like completely two different sides. But between between the TCU internship and the Milwaukee Brewers, they just kind of set me up so well for life that like I was immediately ready for a job right after that you take the right internships and it just lines you up perfectly. You kind of have to be patient. Like I wanted to just take that first one. Like it's kind of, I was thinking like, man, I got to take one or else I'm not going to have an internship. Then I'm just going to be stuck doing another stupid golf course. But if you're just patient with life and know that God will guide you down the right path, that'll help you a lot. And that's what my dad said. That's kind of what everybody was saying. Like just, it'll happen. And that's kind of exactly what happened with my path. Was it just fell so perfectly in line. And I just felt like it could not have worked out any better for me.
So talk about what you're doing now and kind of your role with Iowa State and what that all looks like.
Yeah, so now I was hired for, it's called CSC, Cycle and Sport Complex. That's softball, that's soccer, track and field, and cross country. So I'm kind of out there. I guess worked tonight. There's a soccer game, so during the day we're kind of setting that up. Whether it's kind of mowing, fixing divots from the previous game, kind of a giant like jet engine that's a blower that makes me go deaf, and that's probably why I can't hear. But that kind of blows all the junks or clears the field, and then we have a robotic painter that paints the field, which is literally game changing. That saves us so many man hours, and that thing is amazing. That thing's my best friend without a doubt. But besides Theo, of course. But no, so kind of getting those ready to day and getting the inside. We have a lot of trees, a lot of landscape beds. So I take care of those, and so get those ready besides the fields. And kind of unique with the cross country course because it's 3 miles of kind of well-maintained grass out there too. So it's a lot of headaches out there with irrigation this past year. I didn't think it was ever going to end. We finally somewhat good enough. It's running. So that's all I care about. But so just kind of taking care of all that and seeing how many different athletes there are and kind of all that. And then being able to also work football. So I've never really painted before. That was kind of brand new to me. So I was kind of learn how to paint. And so I kind of paint the field for game days on Jack Trice and get those ready. And so it's kind of just a lot of game days going on in the fall. I think there was a 2-week stretch there where it was Sunday soccer, or Saturday was football, Sunday soccer, Tuesday softball, Wednesday softball, Thursday soccer, Friday softball, and then I think there was Sunday soccer again, and then there was same thing pretty much that week too. So it was like there's like 2 weeks where I was just like pure constantly working because at softball and dragging the field kind of every 3 innings, watering it. So there's just a lot going on there. So I'm during the games, I'm always there. Unless luckily I'll have 3 students with me, of course, too, that help out tremendously. Where I kind of say I'm working, but they kind of do all the hard stuff. But I'm kind of still there helping them out. So, and then football game days is awesome. Standing right on the sideline. That touchdown, I was literally pretty much in that end zone celebrating, kind of. So that's just amazing, especially that ranked team. That was nerve wracking, but well, but.
So are you officially a Cyclone now?
I wouldn't. Yeah. I would.
Yeah. That's a good answer. That's a good answer for
when
your
they
job.
give you after a certain amount of free clothes, you kind of had to. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
But I think it's a lot of Cyclone fans, at least from our side. We always cheer for, other than when we play the Hawkeyes, they're kind of our second favorite team. Like,
Yeah.
if you guys are good and we say we beat you or lose, if you guys are ranked high or playing well, then that win or that loss looks really good compared to whatever else. So
Yeah.
I'd still say I'm not saying like Hawkeye fan, but like if they're playing number 2 Ohio State, like go Hawks, right? So
Yeah. Love it.
Take it.
but
Are there some performance enhancing chemicals we need to know about that you're putting on the field there, or what's the secret to their success this year? They're looking pretty good.
yeah, some certain things probably can't talk about, but yeah, there's definitely some advantages that helps us at home football games but no, it just kind of, it's just so cool to kind of see that and kind of hearing we work so, that's just something that I think we take granted for is their coaching staff is just so talkative to us. If the field's playing slippery for them, then they'll tell us and we'll do whatever it is that they think or come up with a plan that comes up best to get out for them. And yeah, it's just so close contact with them that it's just incredible. And so yeah, it's insane like how closely we work with them, and it definitely helps with our performance out there because if they're uncomfortable, they have no confidence. It's a big thing. If you can't get any traction, it's hard to go make a tackle on some player. So it's just so big that I think a lot of schools might take for granted that coaches aren't talking to the field managers or whatever. It's kind of, we can't think we can see what a player is doing, but we don't know what's going through their mind. Maybe their feet are way out from under them and there's nothing we can do, or maybe they're just not getting any traction and have no confidence. So there's just so much that go into it that kind of helps us out too, that the field doesn't, play good, then we take that to heart. It gets us frustrated. We put in all that work, we put in all that effort, and if players are just slipping and sliding, it just kind of hurts us really, kind of dagger to the heart there that happens. Thankfully, it hasn't really happened yet this year, and at least for the Cyclones teams that we play, we might be sliding, but as long as we're good with the cleats and we're confident, that's all that really matters. So,
before this comes to a wrap, talk about, I think your family is just awesome. I think your parents are awesome. I think your siblings are just great people. Obviously, kind of little bro and big bro at the same time. You talk about your family a little bit, what your parents mean to you, obviously what Mia means to you, and Carson making a stretch run here with football and got to play quarterback a little bit last week, threw a little tutty.
yeah,
That was sick. I don't know, maybe give them a little love here quick. And
yeah, I mean, obviously nothing would be possible without the parents. They put in so much time and effort to get me to this point, whether it's driving me to a practice or paying for me to do a camp. Like, they might have paid for the camp and I would have gone like, oh, why do I have to do this? And they're like, those camps teach you so much more than the skill. They teach you like how to prepare, there's just so much more that goes into those two as well. And without them, there's no way I'd be where I am. And whether it's hard, I know I'm not a parent, but I'm sure it's hard to kind of like take the reins back. There's probably several things in my life that they just wanted to put a stop to, or be like, my dad forced me to go out for football, but he saw that wasn't a joy in my life, and he wasn't gonna kick me down that road. Or that was just there's just so many things that I could go on and on about my parents, but there's just absolutely no way I'd be anywhere without them. And big sis kind of carved the path for me going into high school. She was the smarty in the family for sure. So she kind of got along with all the teachers and put a good name on our family. And I kind of ruined it probably, but good name out there for our family.
Yeah.
And of course, you cousins as well, it kind of helped out. So when I got there, I kind of could be the teacher's pet without actually knowing too much about not know about what's going on in class, but I could, I'd go to say Miss Shillerstrom class and be like, which I think Miss Shillerstrom honestly liked me better than Mia because I don't know why. And that, but say Mr. McCall, he's like, oh, you're Mia's brother, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun with you. I was like, oh goodness. So no, but Mia,
Hey, she's a smarty, but she married smart too.
exactly.
Married even smarter, maybe.
Gotta stay close with that. Got a lot of good Christmases coming up. So, but thanks, Mitch. But no, so I can't say enough great things about it. Just kind of lined me up great. But all seriousness, like sports wise, teaching me like she was a legend with 3-point shooting. She was just whether it was sports, like she was the same way. But she had a lot of skills there too. And she went to college too for basketball and golf, and she just had so many just traits that I was just so easy to follow that I just wanted to be right in her footsteps and knew that if I followed her, that it was all gonna be good. And play her on 1v1 in basketball or whatever, and be her 21-0 every time. So it wasn't like too much of a challenge, but it kind of just helps you out a bit. But
just a little bit.
Yeah,
It's like dummy defense, you know.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
So it's
let me
pretty
try
much
some new things.
1-on-0, but it's nice to have some way there. But then
better than nobody.
exactly. But no, the little brother is just being able to see the young man that he's kind of formed into. All I remember him as like a 2-year-old with the head of a 50-year-old man. I'm not loud shit like anywhere right now, but you know what I'm talking about. That head is not proportionate. That was 99% time you go to the doctor as a kid. That thing was up there. But he filled out. He filled out nice. And now he can beat me up. He can beat me up pretty easily. But so doing what it was 1v1 and basketball with him or whatever, and kind of doing that, or watching us and him throwing a controller at my head, whatever it was a lot of fun going on there still. No, it's awesome. And watch his game here right after this. And thankfully he doesn't have to be the QB because, hey, my mom can't handle that kind of stress. And
I was gonna say she had to be a train wreck last week.
She was calling me and she was like she was already calling me the day prior, and she says like, oh, I just hope nobody gets hurt every week.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hope nobody gets hurt, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, it'll be okay, Mom. And Carson goes down. Even Carson, he gets those cramps so bad now too. So,
I know.
but just kind of just watching that. Yeah, that puts a lot of stress on Mom. And I never thought I'd be so stressed to see my brother play either. I wasn't that, like, we were close. We were brothers, but that, like Brandon said, that junior year of high school, I know you guys probably saw that. We were butting heads every time at a family event, or we never really got along. But after like that junior year of high school, I just felt like we got super close, and that helped me out a lot too. Was just kind of having that bond with him. So that was incredible with him.
Beautiful. Before we go, I got to know, where do you stand on the grass and versus turf debate? We always ask the injury experts. I want to hear it from a grass expert.
Grass without a doubt. Their turf is artificial, is pretty much fake strands of thread kind of on top of a cement. It's pretty much on top of cement. There's not much. You got a crumb rubber 3 inches deep, and then it's cement. Like, where's all that impact gonna go? It goes right back into your body. And that just, for me, that's not healthy at all. So it's grass all the way, 100%. And with us, that hybrid is even better for everything with what we have. That you get the best of both worlds. You don't get the blowouts. You don't get all that, but you get the grip. But also, it gives out when it needs to. As you guys know, ACLs are big for women, and there's things we can do that with grass that helps out with how the woman body's designed. It just all goes to their knees, and they have a lot of torn ACLs, and we can do stuff that helps out their ACLs, or make sure that with certain athletes or sports, we can help out certain parts of their body and make sure now that we have to pay NIL and all that, you look at the players more like assets than you do players. Like Rocco's a $2 million asset. Like if he goes down, our team goes down, and that's a lot of money for the university. So if we can keep them safe, that helps out the university a lot, and that keeps them money. So between safety and now having to pay players, it's a whole different animal too.
Boom. Well said. You heard it here first. Well, Riley, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hopping on and educating us a little bit and sharing a bit into your background. Yeah, you got a unique perspective. So appreciate you hopping on and sharing some wisdom.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Love you, boss.
All right.
Thanks, Rat.
Love it. Till next time. Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a rating, review, or tell a friend to check us out. Be sure to follow us at SHRP_training for more content to help you be your best self. Go be great today.